Hey, Liron here. There's a good chance that you sometimes struggle with knowing what to paint next during a painting process. In this video, I'll try and share with you a bit of strategy to show you how I work this and to know exactly what to paint next. So one of the ways I like doing it is based on what's the next obvious thing for me that will take this painting towards completion. Now, if you look at this scene, let me show you. So there's one thing that's really obvious to me when I look at this, and it's that I need to make the counter itself darker in order to make everything else make sense. This is, to me, the next obvious step. There are many other possible potential steps, but this is the obvious one. Now, if we zoom in here, you'll notice, and you can see this if I show you, this is too light. There's not enough contrast between the counter and the actual items on it. So you could go with any other direction, but this is the thing that pops to me. And so if you look at the counter, it starts a little dark and then gradually goes a little lighter from right to left, okay? And there is a bit of a reflection here that's a little cooler than the rest inside the shadow. It reflects whatever, the ceiling, it could be many things. And this aluminum foil has reflections on the surface. They tell the story, and you'll be surprised at how it's noticeable when they're there, and it will read as a reflection of this aluminum foil wrapped cake. And so what I'm gonna do is paint it, but I could go from right to left and left to right. I can do many things. Let me show you on the actual painting how I'm gonna do it. So I know what my next step is, but again, there are so many options. So how do I figure out how to work into this? So first, I need a large enough wash to cover the whole thing, right? Now, if I start from left to right, I'll have to go light to dark. The problem with that is I'll have to mix something large, start light and gradually darken it. So adding more of the paints to the mix. But if I start right to left, I can start with a darker wash, and all I need to do as I move to the left is to add water. It's easier to add water than it is to add more of the different colors to the mix. If you're painting monochromatically, then you could just go with that, right? But if you are painting a color that is a mix of multiple colors, it's easier to start with the dark and just add water. So what I'm gonna do is rotate this and work top to bottom, right to left, dark to light. Now, another thing, what about all of these little sparkles and reflections of the aluminum foil? Well, I could try painting around them, but honestly, it's gonna compromise the wash and its smoothness. So what I'm going to do instead is skip those and paint them later on with opaque paint, okay? Now, there are many ways of doing it, and you can, if you feel confident, skip them. But even myself, with all my experience, I know that it would be so much easier to simply use opaque paint later on. So just sharing with you some of this strategy of how I approach these things and how I think about them. Hopefully that gives you a window into how I actually paint these kinds of scenes. Now I'm gonna add red. We're just gonna paint this wash. This is gonna be a really quick video. I just wanna show you mid-process what happens. Make sure the next time you're stuck, you have some kind of a heuristics or a thought, a way of thinking about how I get the next detail in. Now remember, I still want this to flow. This may not be the final wash, so I will need some water, but I think this is good enough. So we're gonna start with what is going to be the darkest bit here. And notice the contrast. Notice the contrast before and after, okay? So I'm starting to place down this wash like so, and I'm gonna help it move down. Now, as we progress, I'm gonna very gradually, check it out. Now the oranges start looking a little lighter. But I'm very gradually gonna add more water and mix it really thoroughly into the mix. And I want this to be very incremental, because if I add too much water, I'm gonna start getting, you guessed it, different undesired effects and different cauliflowers and different whatever. So I'm very gently adding more and more water as this wash progresses downwards. And the tilting to the side is super helpful. And I can add a bit more water. The tilting to the side is super helpful to keep the flow going, right? That's another important element here. I still want this to flow, even at the price of this not being dark enough, by the way. That's at least how I prioritize things. And check it out. And I'm gonna show you a before and after in a second once we're done with this wash. That's what it's all about. You've seen me mix in a large enough quantity of paint. You've seen me starting with a bit of a stronger paint, and slowly, it's a small change, it's not a big change, gradually pushing it to be a little lighter as we move to the left. Right now it's misleading because this is wetter, so it looks darker. As soon as it dries, it's gonna all fall into place. And this is how I think about the next step in my paintings. Always, what's next? What's coming next? Hopefully that gives you an idea of how to do that for your own works. If you enjoy my work and you're benefiting from my videos, would highly appreciate if you check out the watercolor courses, learn how to paint like this, be free, let go, enjoy the painting process. And also, if you want to support me, check out Patreon. I do provide credits for every single supporter, and it means the world to me. And also you get access to a couple of exclusive processes. But this is it. Thank you so much. We'll see you in the next vid.